Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn, Supportive Oracle Cards, Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Okay. Leo. Leo. Okay. There's like a big jump or a big pile of cards here that's starting you off, which tells me you're pretty busy. That's it? Okay. You're pretty busy, obviously. Not that that would be rare for a Leo, not for nothing. You usually get a lot done. A lot of work, constant work. There's a lot of pentacles here. Ooh. Pentacles for Leo, like, it's not that you can't stick with something. It's not that, but it can get extremely boring for a Leo. The more pentacles, it just seems like if it's too pentacle heavy, there's too much earth here. It just seems like it could hold the fire down a little bit. Like, it doesn't seem to work well. And I feel like the situation is very stable, but it seems like it's getting stagnant. It may be very good even, but it's stagnant. There's a lot of work going on here, a lot of perpetual motion. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Sometimes you're driving things forward. Sometimes you're just making sure things stay afloat. But it seems like it's always in the same... It's like you're doing the same thing. Even if it changes up, it's just kind of like... It's like driving back and forth between two cities. Maybe you're driving a different vehicle. Maybe you're taking different items back and forth, but it's like you're still doing the same trip. Even if it's a different vehicle or different things you're moving back and forth, it's just like it's the same trip. It's the same trip. It's the same trip. And you're kind of like, I'm getting over this, and you're starting to think like, I need to do something different. And you're trying to keep it interesting. You're trying to keep a good attitude towards it, kind of like, it's a good situation. I want to keep it. You've got the rabbit, peacock, and fox spirit. You're trying to keep yourself busy so you don't you think about it too much. Anything you can do to make the situation interesting for you, you're doing that. You're doing everything you can to keep the situation interesting. You're doing your best with it. But the fox spirit is telling me you're still, like, it's going in with that Seven of Cups, making you think, oh, what else could I do? Maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to get out of this back and forth drive constantly. Even though it's changing up what I'm driving and what I'm taking back and forth, maybe I need a different situation altogether, because I kind of don't think this drive is working for me anymore. Okay, so opportunity presents itself to you. There's a possibility that comes forward to you. You don't like that drive anymore? How about this? And it's like really good. Something is presenting itself to you. You may not even have put out there that you are looking for a change, but a change is coming your way. Like, here, you could have this Ace of Swords. Would you like it? And somebody's thinking, this Ace of Swords is a great thing. They're thinking it'd be great for you. This is a judgment in your favor. They're thinking you're the perfect match for this. You know, I know you've been doing that for the longest time, but how about this? Wouldn't you rather do this? We think you would be good for this. Now, the thing is, you have responsibility. That's the thing with Pentacles too. There's responsibility usually attached with that. And you're not looking to just drop everything and just abandon the situation. You're just kind of looking at it like, all right, I do want that. How do I make that happen without upsetting a lot of other people? Or at least setting up the situation to where it can thrive with someone else and I can let that go. Somebody else is now taking over that and I go do this. It's a challenge for the transition. I feel like that's the biggest thing with this whole situation. Because you need somebody else to take that over is what I'm getting. You need to leave that in the proper way, let that go in the proper way so you can move into this other situation. And it seems like you're looking at it that way, like, all right, I have to release that one thing before I can grab onto this new thing. But I don't want to cause dismay, or I don't want people to look at me in a negative way. I don't want to cause any destruction. I want to leave this in a positive way. So the trick is, how do you do that? How do you do that? Because it's not as simple as saying, you know what, 2 weeks, I'm out. Figure it out, fix it yourself, I'm going. It's not working like that for some reason. It's kind of like, I'd like to give 2 weeks, but that's not going to make this work out right. So you're trying to find a better way to release it, but you also seem to be trying to find somebody else to do it at the same time. I picked up on that a little bit in the beginning there, but I'm feeling it now more. So people don't like that you're leaving. That groundhog is like somebody having a hard time that you're changing. People are very devastated that you're moving on. Seems like a quick change to them. Seems like things are changing very quickly. They don't seem to like it. That's the devastation with the Ten of Swords and people thinking things are changing too quickly. I feel like to make this happen, to make this change happen, you got to take it by the reins. You have to command the situation. I literally feel like you're not going to be able to get out of this without upsetting a few people. But I feel like this is the same analogy of like, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Like, you know, the whole point of the egg is for it to get broken, in my opinion. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, people could say, well, you could do this with it, you could do that with it, you don't have to break it, whatever. I'm just kidding. You're not going to get out of this without breaking a few eggs. It's gonna have a little bit of backlash to it. Because I feel you're trying to actively make things move forward, but you just... I feel like you're trying to help people move forward and replace you, but if they're not willing to do that, if they're just kind of like standing with their feet, you know, they're standing with, you know, that stubborn, like, no, not going, not doing it, nope. You could try to help them, but if they're refusing, you can't let that hold you back. I feel like it's more like, listen, I'll try to help you. If you refuse to take my help, I'm still going. So I feel like you gotta kind of like give this situation some heads up, kind of like, well, I would normally give 2 weeks, but I'll give you a month. I almost feel like, because I feel like you're very giving with the situation. I feel like you're very giving with the situation. And it may not be literally the time thing that I'm giving, but whatever you're doing, you're being extremely giving to the situation. Like, I'll try to do this for you, I'll try to do that, but this is where this ends. This is where I'm leaving. So take advantage of it if you know, and I highly recommend you do, take advantage of what I'm giving you. But if you don't want to, it's on you, and when I'm gone, I'm gone. Because I'm getting like you're trying to work with it, but you're also at the same time, like, you're giving this heads up, like, I'm not going to let you hold me here just because you refuse to work with me. If you refuse to work with me, it's on you how that turns out. It's on them. It's on them how that works out. I literally feel like somebody has a chance to make the situation go a lot easier, but they're refusing to work with you. And when the time comes, you do leave. Seems to shock this other person that's happening. They don't seem to like it. They wanted to be stubborn. I do feel like they're having to rebuild the tower. Like, the tower falls over, but I don't feel like it had to be that bad. The tower could have been just the upset of you changing or leaving. That could have been their tower moment by itself, but they also have added, like, it's not just like it's like instead of being a 2-story tower, they took that and built up 3 more stories on top of it while it was changing, and now it's a 5-story tower that fell over. So instead of having a 2-story tower falling over, which is bad enough, they had a chance to help, you know, to deal with that on its own. But instead of doing that, they just made it higher. They made it bigger, they made it worse, and now that's falling in on them. It was going to fall in on them anyway, but that is going to happen. I don't see you being able to avert it, unless you just want to give up your happiness. Which, why would you do that? I don't feel like that's necessary. I don't feel like that's something that should be done. So you got to make up your own mind on that, of course. You're going into a whole new version of life. A whole new version of life? But when I'm feeling the World card, like, life feels better. Life feels new. You're happy. You're doing what you need to do. This new situation is the breath of fresh air that you want. I do feel like there's a weird energy from the past still holding you. You still have ties or something to the past, and it's making you uncomfortable, almost like you're being blamed for something you should not be blamed for. Don't own that blame. Do not own that blame. If somebody tries to say, you know, well, that other situation's failing because you left it and that's your fault, I would immediately say, no, I gave notice. I told people I was going. I offered to help, and they ignored me. So I'm not going to just sit here and let my life pass me by because somebody else just wants to ignore the change that I had told them I was going to do. I had offered to make easier on them, and they refused to hear me. They decided to ignore me. So that is on whoever that's on. Like I would not just like ignore it, but I would just direct the energy back. Like, oh no, the reason that's failing is because the person who was supposed to handle it, that I offered to make easier on them, offered to help them change that before I left, ignored me and just didn't want to hear it and didn't want to deal with it. That person is the reason this might be failing now. And I just wouldn't put up with it. I just don't feel like putting up with it. Just walking away. It just seems like walking away is not the right thing for this situation, because I feel like that needs to be put in perspective. Like, no, I was willing to help. They ignored me. I wasn't going to bend over backwards and force them to hear me. If they didn't want to hear me, that's on them. That's their thing. I'm not their nursemaid. I'm not their, warden, if you want to put it that way. Whatever. I'm not their warden. Okay. Anything else with this? I feel like this is going well for you. Just for some reason, just that other people pushing in on you, like, oh, that failed because you left energy, just calling that out, being prepared for it. I think that's what this reading is all about for the Leos or the people who connect with this reading. Being prepared for it and just knowing what you're going to say ahead of time, realizing that's coming your way and being like, nope, this is what I did, that's what I did, I offered this, I tried to do that, they ignored me, not them. You don't have to go at it ad nauseum, but you're just kind of like, nope, that bull is on them, not me. Just don't let that opinion be assigned to you. That's not right. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.